So in part one, in unit one, I'm going to start with this hardware. Let me share first. Okay. In unit one, I'm going to start with hardware erosion public finance that I already have shared in the group. जो इसमें आप लोग को करना है. Uh, Basically, this is about the normative analysis, and here we will study about the welfare economics and welfare economics, and we will see whether the government intervention is desirable or not, and in what purpose the government intervention is desirable, and we will distinguish the market, which can be expected to perform well, and the market which gets fell in some due to some nature of the goods. But here we will study the welfare economics through Edgeworth box. Edgeworth box, basically, that is that. Uh, So this is the Edgeworth box. Basically, Edgeworth is the name of economist who has given this the concept of this Edgeworth box. Here, basically, here we can say that there are two persons here, Adam and Eve. Okay, and supply of the goods are fixed in the economy. That the assumption. So that is the case of the two persons, two goods model. Okay, and we can extend to the multi number of the person and multi number of the goods. That is realistic for the economy. But here, for simplicity, we are going to deal with two persons and with two goods available in the economy. सो एजवर्थ बॉक्स को समझने की जरूरत है कि इसमें किस तरह से हम देखेंगे इसे. ओके, you can see that on this axis here, Adam. Okay. On the other hand, here is another axis, and here is the Eve. Okay. So two persons, Adam and Eve, and two goods are here. That is apples and fig. Okay. Now, इसमें हम लोग स्टडी कैसे करेंगे एडम का क्वांटिटी और ईव की क्वांटिटी को. If you move from here away from this axis, it means that quantity of apple with Adam increases. Okay, जैसे in another case we see, and if we move here vertically away from this axis, that it means that the quantity of figs with Adam increases. And what about the Eve? Eve case में just opposite होगा. If we move in this direction, then the quantity of apples with Eve increases, and if we move in this direction, downward direction, the quantity of fig with Eve increases. So that is the the way we have to study this Edgeworth box. So suppose that there is one point here in the Edgeworth box V. Let's assume that what does it mean? इसका मतलब है कि Adams has this much quantity of apple and this much quantity of fig, and since total supply of the goods are fixed, that is assumed total supply ये है, OX, and total fig ये है. So at point V in the Edgeworth box, Adam has this much quantity of apple and this much quantity of fig. On the other hand, the left apple, this much quantity with the Eve and this much quantity of the fig with Eve. So that is the way we have to study the Edgeworth box. So that is the simple model, that is 2% two goods economy model. Okay. Now, once we understand the Edgeworth box, how to study this Edgeworth box, then we can proceed. Okay. Now another thing, जो आप लोग माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स में you have already have done the indifference curve, right? So and indifference curve, what the indifference curve measures? Indifference curve measures the utility. Okay, and a single indifference curve represents the same utility at every point that you know that you already have done in microeconomics. And as we move from away from the axis to the consumer reaches on the higher utility. Okay, so in the Edgeworth box here again, here is the Adam, here is the Eve, and quantity of apple and quantity of fig. So this is the indifference curve. This is the indifference curve, that is A1, A2, A3. These are the indifference curve for the Adam. Okay, and as we move from A1 to A2, it means what? It means Adam's utility increases. Okay, then A2 to A3, Adam's utility increases. So as we move away from this axis O, that you already know that Adam's utility increases. On the other hand, if के केस में क्या है? If के केस में just this is the indifference curve. Okay, this is the indifference curve, and as you move from E1 to E2, then Eve's utility increases. Then E2 to E3, then Eve's utility increases. So we can say that as Adam moves southeast direction, then Adam's utility increases, and as Eve moves in the northeast direction, then Eve's utility increases. So this is the indifference curve A1, A2, A3. These are the indifference curve for the Adam, and E1, E2, E3. These are the indifference curve for the Eve. Now, suppose that here, now in this diagram, what is happening here, that there is one allocation. Again, I mean the Adam Eve case and apple and figs are the two goods here, and suppose that one allocation is here G. This is the point G. Okay, one allocation G. And you can see that there are the various indifference curve for the Adam A1, A2, A3, and each indifference curve is this one. Okay, now what is happening here at point G? Let's I mean here indifference curve for Adam and Eve intersect. Okay, and what about the allocation? Allocation क्या है यहाँ पर goods का? At point G, Adam have this much quantity of apple and this much quantity of fig, and the left, that is the this much quantity of apple and this much quantity of fig is with Eve. Initially, initial allocation is this one. Okay, but the question is that if the initial allocation is at point G, Adams have this much quantity of apple and this much quantity of fig, and जो rest है वो Eve के पास है. Now with this initial allocation, can we make one person better off or not? We have to see. And better off का क्या मतलब है? If consumer moves on higher indifference curve, then consumer's utility increases. Utility increases. So suppose so at point G, from point G, if we redistribute the resource, if the resources, if the apple and figs are redistributed among Adam and Eve, can we make someone better off without hurting the thing is that. Okay, so now you can compare point G with point H. What is happening here? जैसे हम लोग मूव कर रहे हैं पॉइंट जी से पॉइंट एच की ओर, then what is happening that that Adam is moving on higher indifference curve. Okay, Adam is moving on higher indifference curve, but Eve remains on the same indifference curve. Okay, so Adam condition better off without hurting Eve. Okay, from G to H. Again, from H to this point F, again, Adam is moving on higher indifference curve, so Adam's utility increases. However, Eve जो है same indifference curve है पर है, so we can say that Adam's utility increases without hurting Eve. So the final conclusion of this diagram is that if the initial allocation is here, so by redistributing the apples and oranges, figs among Adam and Eve, we can make someone better off without hurting others. So this is the पॉइंट, ये जो पॉइंट एफ है, अब इससे बियॉन्ड नहीं जा सकता। अगर इससे बियॉन्ड अगर एडम मूव करता है, देन व्हाट विल हैपन, देन इफ्स कंडीशन विल बी वर्स ऑफ, क्योंकि वो इफ जो है लोअर इंडिफरेंस कर्व पे चला जाएगा। दैट वी नो दैट, इस डायग्राम में हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि इफ यूटिलिटी इंक्रीजेज व्हेन इफ मूव इन दिस डायरेक्शन, हाई इंडिफरेंस कर्व। सो this is the, I mean, the maximum possibility that Adams condition को better किया जा सकता है without hurting Eve. Okay, if we move Adam from here beyond F, then of course the Adams condition will improve. Adam will be better off, but Eve will be worse off. If the condition worse off हो जाएगा, because Eve will move on the lower indifference curve. But from G to H, H to F, if we just redistributing the resources, then Adam is moving on higher indifference curve, so getting higher utility, while Eve is remaining on the same indifference curve. Eve की utility में कोई change नहीं हो रहा है, so without hurting Eve, we can make Adam better off. So point F is the Pareto efficient point. Okay, Pareto efficient point says that that is the best possible allocation, Pareto efficient allocation, best possible allocation that someone makes better off without hurting others. Okay, so that is the Pareto efficient allocation, and from G to H, H to F, that is the way we can say that is the Pareto improvement. So improvement from G to H, Adam का improve हो रहा है without hurting Eve. H to F, again improving Adam without hurting Eve. But beyond F, we can't make Adam better off without hurting Eve. So point F is the Pareto efficient allocation. अब इस allocation के अलावे there is no any other allocation which can make Adam better off without hurting Eve. Okay. So from G to H, H to F, that is the Pareto improvement, improvement in the Adam without hurting Eve, and F is the best possible allocation where Adams का जो condition improve कर रहा है without hurting Eve. So that is all about the concept Edgeworth box and the Pareto efficient allocation. Okay. Now on the other way, see इस डायग्राम में अभी हम लोग क्या देखें कि एडम्स कंडीशन इंप्रूव कर रहा है विदाउट हर्टिंग इव. In the similar way, we can make if better without hurting Adam. Again, जो ये एलोकेशन है जी, ओके, ये wait. I think 4 and 5 are the same by mistake. Oh, I think by mistake the same page is being repeated here, page 4 and 5. But I will share that page also. But the thing is that here in this diagram, we have made the Adam better off without hurting the Eve. In the similar way, we can make the Eve better without hurting Adam. Suppose let's just make the virtual image here. If initial allocation is at point G, okay, and if move from G to this point, if the indifference curve would be here, then if is on the higher indifference curve. but Adam remains on the same indifference curve, so Adam's utility remains constant. So again, if move if from here to here, so again on high indifference curve, so if condition better off without hurting Adam. And again the same case we will find, जो ये point है टेंजेंसी का जो point है, there the maximum possible way to make it better off without hurting Adam. So we can just conclude that this is the Pareto absent allocation, and Pareto absent allocation के लिए जो necessary condition है, that is the indifference curve of the two persons here, the case of the two person tangent to the each other. Okay, ये tangent है, tangency point है. Now beyond this we can't make one person better off without hurting other. दूसरे को हट करके ही एक को बेटर किया जा सकता है beyond this. Okay, similarly for the E will be इस अगर यहाँ पर टेंजेंसी हो जाता है, then beyond that if condition can't be made better off without hurting Adam. So in both cases, I mean one person can be condition can be made better off without hurting others, like Adam here, or if की भी condition को better off किया जा सकता है without hurting Adam. So and finally we can reach at the pair to efficient allocation. Okay. Now, just we have seen that one person's condition better off without hurting others. But is it possible that कि दोनों का condition better off किया जा सके? Of course, there is the possibility. There we can see in this diagram that again जो है G point initial allocation है, where indifference curve intersect to each other, indifference curve of the both person Adam और Eve का intersect each other, and अभी हम लोग देखें from G to P. Okay, if you move from G to P, then what is happening that if के इंडिफरेंस कर्व में कोई चेंज नहीं हो रहा है, इफ्स की यूटिलिटी में कोई चेंज नहीं हो रहा है, बट जो एडम का इंडिफरेंस कर्व है, एडम इज मूविंग ऑन हाई इंडिफरेंस कर्व, सो एडम्स यूटिलिटी इंक्रीजेस. सिमिलरली इफ यू मूव फ्रॉम G to P1, तो यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है, एडम्स का यूटिलिटी इज नॉट चेंजिंग, बट इफ्स इज मूविंग ऑन द हाई इंडिफरेंस कर्व, क्योंकि ये G पॉइंट जो है अभी इफ इस इंडिफरेंस कर्व है, यहाँ आने के लिए इफ हैज टू मूव ऑन द हाई इंडिफरेंस कर्व, सो इफ्स यूटिलिटी इंक्रीजेस विदाउट हर्टिंग एडम. In between these two extreme case, one extreme case में क्या हुआ, Adams I mean the maximum better off case without hurting Eve, and at P1 if better off condition, best possible way to make if better off condition without hurting Adam. In between these two extreme case, there is the possibility that like that point P2 here, P2. So initial allocation at G, so एडम्स के पास इतना एप्पल है एंड इतना फिग है, और इनिशियली ईव के पास इतना एप्पल है, दिस इज द एप्पल quantity and this is the fig quantity. This is the initial allocation the Adam and Eve had, but and Adam is on the indifference curve this one, and Eve is on the indifference curve this one. Okay, now from reallocation of the resources, okay, if somewhere the agreement between Adam and Eve and they reach at the point P2, so what is happening that if we compare G with P2, then we can say that Adam is on the higher indifference curve, okay, and Eve is also on the higher indifference curve. So both condition becomes better off. So making both Adam and Eve better off. So by rearranging the resources, by reallocating the resources, we can make better off both person here. I mean, this is the case of the two-person, goods economy. So that is the case for the multi-person and the multi-goods economy. There is a possibility that by just reallocating the resources, then everyone can be better off. So this is the concept of the I mean the Edgeworth box and the Pareto absent allocation, and the necessary condition. Again, if we see that अगर सपोज G से P1 पे मूव कर रहा है, G से P1 मूव कर रहा है, यहाँ पे इंडिफरेंस का टेंजेंट है Eve का. Okay, so that is one Pareto absent allocation. If we move from G to P, so at point P, Adam's indifference curve is tangent, so P is another Pareto absent allocation, and P2 here in between this is another Pareto efficient allocation. So with initial allocation, there might be several possibility of the Pareto efficient allocation. So P1, P2, P all are the Pareto efficient allocation. Pareto efficient allocation का मतलब है अब इससे better off नहीं हो सकता वहाँ पे, या फिर we can say that the necessary condition for the Pareto efficient allocation is tangency, indifference curve tangent to each other. Okay, इस डायग्राम में शो नहीं किया गया है, अगर यहाँ पर if का टेंजेंट होगा P1 पर difference curve with this Adams indifference curve at point P, जो if का जो indifference curve है यहाँ पर Adam का indifference curve tangent होगा. So all these point P1, P2, P represent the Pareto efficient allocation. But the difference between is that at point P Adams का condition better off है without hurting Eve if we compare with G, and at point P1, what is happening if condition better off without hurting Adam? Again, if we compare with G and with P1, at point P2, both condition better off. So these all are the possibility of the Pareto efficient allocation. Okay, अगर हम इस तीनों पॉइंट को मिलाएं, अगर इस तीनों पॉइंट को किसी लाइन से अगर ड्रॉ करें, मिला दें, तो दैट विल बी कॉल्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर्व. यहाँ पर मेंशन किया हुआ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर्व, जो नेक्स्ट डायग्राम में भी हम लोग देखेंगे. जैसे इस जो ऊपर वाला ये जो डायग्राम है, इसमें अभी केवल एक ही, हालांकि इस बुक में कुछ प्रिंट का भी मिस्टेक है, इसमें इफ के इंडिफरेंस कर्व को नहीं दिखाया गया है. That is only the Adams indifference curve, indifference curve. So it should show here. I mean, P1, P2, P3, P4, all are the Pareto efficient allocation. और Pareto efficient allocation जो है initial distribution के साथ change हो सकता है. अगर point G पर है, तो there is a possibility from P1 to this point. Okay, if the initial allocation is here, then another Pareto efficient allocation. So in one Edgeworth box, with the changing of initial distribution, there might be several Pareto efficient allocation possibility. These all are the Pareto efficient allocation. Okay, or when we meet this axis from O to O prime, so every point where indifference curve tangent to each other, these are the case of the Pareto efficient. और ये line जो है M, that is the contract curve. That is the contract curve. So basically, contract curve represent the Pareto efficient allocation point. Okay, और see ये जो Pareto efficient allocation है, suppose कीजिए अभी जो if we see this point, okay, P1, P2, P. So this point is coming if the initial allocation is here. Okay, so from this point to this point, if condition better off without hurting Adam, from this point to this point, Adam's condition better off without hurting Eve, and in between this there might be infinite possibility. If we just say P2, then both condition better off. अब जैसे यहाँ पर वाला जो केस है, यहाँ का केस है, यहाँ का केस है, यहाँ भी केस हो सकता है अगर initial allocation is here, then if we move from here to here by reallocating the resources, apples and fig, among Adam and Eve, so Adam if condition better off without hurting Adam, and if we move from here to here, then Adam condition better off, Adam is moving on higher indifference curve without hurting Eve, and in between this there might be several possibility anywhere जहाँ पर कि दोनों का condition better off होगा. Similarly, we can see here that if initial allocation is here, then if you move from here to here, then if condition better off, if is moving on high indifference curve without hurting Adam remains on the same indifference curve. If you move from here to here, then it means that Adams is moving on high indifference curve. Adam completely increase कर रहा है without hurting Eve, and in between this there is a several possibility. So with changing of the initial, पर यहाँ initial distribution, now initial distribution is here, now initial distribution is here. With changing initial distribution, there might be the different pair to efficient allocation in one Edgeworth box. And if we meet all these points of the pair to efficient allocation with give the initial allocation, different initial allocation, then we can find as the contract curve. So contract curve basically just represents the point of pair to efficient allocation. So अभी तक हम लोग we are aware with the term pair to efficient allocation, we are aware with the term Edgeworth box, we are aware with the term pair to improvement. Pair to improvement, what is the pair to improvement? Pair to improvement, moving from here to here. Okay, so moving from here to here, pair to improvement. Moving from here to here, the pair to improvement. Moving from here to here, the pair to improvement. So pair to improvement is the way by which someone can be made better off without hurting others. So that is the pair to improvement. And pair to efficient allocation, the best possible allocation. That's someone make better off without hurting others. Now after that, there will be no any allocation which can make someone better off without hurting others. Pair to efficient allocation एक बार अगर हम reach कर गए, suppose कीजिए, suppose just we assume that this is the initial allocation है. सपोज कीजिए दोनों में एग्रीमेंट होकर दो बोथ रीच्ड एट पॉइंट टू P2. ओके, सो बोथ कंडीशन बेटर ऑफ. अब जब यहाँ से एक बार ये लोग यहाँ पहुंच गए हैं, आफ्टर दैट अगर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन को रीएलोकेट यहाँ से करेंगे तो किसी एक को हर्ट करना होगा. क्यों? इफ यू मूव फ्रॉम हियर टू हियर, सो इट मींस व्हाट? सपोज दैट between P2 to P, तो यहाँ पर if का एक इंडिफरेंस कर्व होगा, बट if is moving on the lower इंडिफरेंस कर्व now. So but Adam is moving on higher इंडिफरेंस कर्व, तो Adam का यूटिलिटी इंक्रीज करेगा बट if का यूटिलिटी डिक्रीज करेगा. So once we reach at the pair to efficient allocation, so there will be no possible way to make someone better off without hurting others. Suppose इनिशियल अगेन इनिशियल ये यहाँ पर है. नाउ दे विद द एग्रीमेंट दे रीच हियर. यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है? इफ का कंडीशन बेटर ऑफ हो रहा है विदाउट हर्टिंग एडम. लेकिन वंस दे रीच हियर, नाउ इफ वी चेंज द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, देन वी हैव टू मेक समवन वर्स ऑफ, टू मेक समवन बेटर ऑफ. इफ यू मूव फ्रॉम हियर, एडम्स का कंडीशन ठीक होगा बट इफ का कंडीशन वर्स ऑफ होगा. सिमिलरली अगर इनिशियल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन से अगर ये P पे पहुंच जाता है, दैट इज द पेयर टू एफिशिएंट एलोकेशन. नाउ इफ वी चेंज द एलोकेशन फ्रॉम हियर, तो सपोज दैट हियर, देन इफ का कंडीशन बेटर ऑफ होगा, इफ मूविंग ऑन हाई डिफरेंस का, बट एडम इज मूविंग ऑन द लोअर डिफरेंस का. सो द फाइनल कंक्लूजन इज दैट वंस वी रीच एट द पेयर टू एफिशिएंट एलोकेशन, देयर विल बी नो एनी अदर एलोकेशन व्हिच कैन मेक समवन बेटर ऑफ विदाउट हर्टिंग अदर. बट अगर पेयर टू एफिशिएंट एलोकेशन नहीं है, आई मीन वेयर द इंडिफरेंस कर्व इंटरसेक्ट विद ईच अदर, नॉट टेंजेंट विद ईच अदर. अगर इंटरसेक्ट कर रहा है, देन देयर इज द पॉसिबिलिटी टू मेक समवन बेटर ऑफ विदाउट हर्टिंग अदर्स, या फिर दोनों को बेटर ऑफ किया जा सकता है. दैट इज द एंड द वे by which the one person's better off without hurting others, or the both persons can be make better off. That is the way, the pair to improvement way. Now so we are, once we are aware with pair to Edgeworth box, we are aware with the pair to improvement, we are aware with the pair to efficient allocation. So always remember that pair to efficient allocation indifference curve tangent to each other. हर एक पॉइंट पे नहीं दिखाया गया है. यहाँ भी एक टेंजेंसी होगा, यहाँ भी एक टेंजेंसी होगा, जितना पॉइंट है सब पर टेंजेंसी होगा. ओके, okay, so that is from the consumer side. Okay, there are two consumer, Adam and Eve. Two types of the goods are apple and fig. So 2% two goods economy, and there is the possibility of the reallocation of the resources, and by reallocating the resources, both person can be made better off, or someone made better off without hurting other. That is the way. That is the way to improvement. Now from production side. We are, I mean, you are aware with the term production possibility curve. So this is the production possibility curve. This CC is the production possibility curve. So production possibility curve का मतलब क्या है? I mean, again, on the horizontal axis apple, on the vertical axis fig. And what the production possibility curve implies? Production possibility curve implies that if we use all the resource, the maximum production of the apple and fig, the combination of the apples and fig, when all the resources are utilized. Okay, so this is the production possibility curve. अगर 0 units of fig हो रहा है, तो maximum apple प्रोडक्शन इतना है, if 0 units of apple है, तो maximum possibility of maximum production of fig is this when whole resources are utilized, and in between this the combination of the apple and fig. It is downward sloping. You know that why? That if we move in this direction, so what is happening? The quantity of apple is increasing, but the quantity of apple is increasing, production of apple is increasing, supply of apple is increasing, but this is the possible only जब हम some resource we have to release from fig प्रोडक्शन टू द एप्पल प्रोडक्शन, तो फिग का प्रोडक्शन डिक्रीज करेगा, एप्पल का प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज करेगा. जैसे इफ यू सी दैट 1 point here and 1 point here, if you move from this point to this point, what is happening? That apple's quantity increases from x to z, but fig quantity decrease from w to y. एप्पल की इतना प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाने के लिए फिग के इतने प्रोडक्शन को डिक्रीज करना होगा. सो दैट इज द, जैसे इंडिफरेंस कर्व में मार्जिनल रेट ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूशन होता है. ओके ओके, जस्ट वेट, वन थिंग आई फॉर से. Okay, again, I'm in this page. Since we know that pair to efficient allocation is the point where indifference curve tangent to each other. Both persons can indifference curve tangent hai. And you know that the slope of the indifference curve is what? Slope of the indifference curve is marginal rate of substitution that you have done in the macroeconomics. Okay, so tangency point represents the slope of the both indifference curve will be the same. ओके, जो टेंजेंट, जहाँ पर टेंजेंट, जैसे आप लोग माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स में किए हुए हैं, कंज्यूमर सिक्योरिटी के लिए क्या होता था? इंडिफरेंस कर्व टेंजेंट टू द बजट लाइन. ओके, और जहाँ पर टेंजेंट होता था, द स्लोप ऑफ द लाइन बिकम्स इक्वल टू द स्लोप ऑफ द इंडिफरेंस कर्व. दैट वी हैव डन इन माइक्रो. Similarly here, the two indifference curve tangent to each other, and at the tangency point, the slope of the both indifference curve will be the same. And what is the slope of the indifference curve? Slope of the indifference curve is the marginal rate of substitution. So marginal rate of substitution for apple with fig for Adam becomes equal to marginal rate of substitution for the Eve for apple with fig. So so that is the case at pair to efficient allocation. The marginal rate of substitution for Adams becomes equal to marginal rate of substitution for Eve. This is a very important thing for the pair to efficient allocation. Now we come to the production economy. Production economy में production possibility curve. So to raise the production of apple from OX to OZ, so by increasing this apple, we have to sacrifice the fig by this unit WY. Okay, so in another way we can say that is the cost of the production of the apple. Okay, so cost of the production of apple in terms of fig, I mean cost of production for apple of this quantity XZ in terms of fig is WY. Okay, and जैसे indifference curve में marginal rate of substitution होता है, the slope of the indifference curve represents the marginal rate of substitution. The slope of the production possibility curve is the marginal rate of transformation. That is the rate at which one product can be transformed by sacrificing the other product. Okay, so what is happening here? That fig, if we you have to raise the quantity of apple from this point to this point, from OX to OZ. So for raising the quantity of apple by XZ unit, we have to sacrifice the fig by WY unit. That is the case, and that is the rate of transformation. So the slope is here WY divided by XZ. That is the slope of this production possibility curve. That is the marginal rate at which the apple has been transformed from the fig. So that is the marginal rate of transformation. Okay, so now exactly the marginal rate of transformation, we can define the marginal rate of transformation in terms of the marginal cost. Marginal cost, you know कि क्या है? कि marginal cost जो है, that is the I mean the additional cost for the production of the good that you have done in the microeconomics. So what is the additional cost for apple? what is the additional cost for the apple. So additional cost for raising for the production of apple by xz unit, the cost in terms of fig is wy. Similarly we can say अगर fig के production को increase करते हैं from y to w, so to raise the production of fig by wy unit, we have to sacrifice the apple by the unit xz. So the cost of production for apple in terms of fig is wy, and cost of production for the fig in terms of apple is xz, and that is the slope wy divided by xz. Wy divided by xz, this is the slope of the production possibility curve, that is the marginal rate of transformation. It also represents the marginal cost. So to raise, so we can say the marginal cost for apple is here wy, okay, and marginal cost for fig is xz. So so we can say that I mean if we move from here to here, here to here, so apple का production increase किया, so and the slope is wy divided by xz, but to raise this production, so marginal cost is wy, and to raise production from fig to here, the marginal cost for fig is xz. So we can say that this rate of transformation, the slope of production possibility curve, is also the ratio of the marginal cost. क्योंकि एप्पल को यहाँ से यहाँ बढ़ा रहे हैं, इसका मार्जिनल कॉस्ट ये है, और फिग को अगर यहाँ से यहाँ बढ़ा रहे हैं तो इसका मार्जिनल कॉस्ट. सो दिस रेशियो इज again the marginal rate of transformation. So marginal rate of transformation can be defined in terms of the marginal cost also. That is the thing. Marginal rate of transformation of apple from fig is the ratio of marginal cost of apple divided by marginal cost of fig. And remember that यहाँ पर जो है marginal cost of apple, यहाँ पर जो change हो रहा है, change in fig on the numerator side होगा and change in apple on the denominator side होगा, क्योंकि apple पे change करने से fig के quantity को sacrifice करना पड़ रहा है. That is the thing. So marginal cost, so again, so in terms of the marginal cost, the marginal rate of transformation is the ratio of marginal cost of apple with marginal cost of the fig. Okay. Now and you also know that I mean here an efficiency condition के लिए when the supply of apple and figs leaves are variable, the condition for Pareto efficiency must be extended, and this is the condition. So you can see that in equation 3.1, I mean that is the from the consumer side, marginal rate of substitution जहाँ equal है, I mean for Pareto efficient allocation, and for in the production economy, marginal rate of transformation becomes equal to the ratio of marginal cost. And you know that for competitive economy, जो competitive market में है, in the case of the perfect competitive market, price becomes equal to the marginal cost. Okay, इसको perfect competitive market वाले केस बाद में करेंगे. First just we see that for efficiency के लिए, Pareto efficiency के लिए, from consumer side, marginal rate of substitution becomes for Adam becomes equal to marginal rate of substitution for Eve. Okay, and it should be equal to marginal rate of transformation. Okay, it should be equal to marginal rate of transformation. And there is one example, अगर ये equal नहीं होता है, then there is always the possibility to make someone better off without hurting others. So so that is the condition for efficiency, that marginal rate of substitution for Adams becomes equal to marginal rate of substitution for Eve, and which should be equal to marginal rate of transformation, that is the slope, and which is also the ratio of marginal cost of apple with marginal cost of fig. So so efficiency condition requires this case, and since this is the ratio of marginal cost, so इस case को हम लोग ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं. So marginal rate of transformation, which is the ratio of the marginal cost, becomes equal to marginal rate of substitution for Adams, which becomes equal to marginal rate of substitution for Eve. That is the necessary condition for Pareto efficiency. and you also know जो है I mean marginal rate of substitution जो है you have done in the microeconomics, that marginal rate of substitution, that is the at the consumer's equilibrium point, which also becomes equal to the ratio of the price of the good, if you remember that at the consumer's equilibrium, and what's the ratio of the price? Ratio of the price is the slope of the budget line that we have done in the microeconomics. So for consumer's equilibrium, Adam के लिए marginal rate of substitution for Adam should be equal to the ratio of the price with the ratio of the, I mean with the ratio of the price of apple with to the ratio of to the price of fig. So that is the consumer's equilibrium point for the Adam. Similarly, if consumer's equilibrium point will be where the marginal rate of substitution of Eve becomes equal to the ratio of the price of apple to the fig. So that is the case, consumer equilibrium, utility maximizing case जो है that we have done in the microeconomics, जहाँ पे indifference का budget line की tangent होता है, so it becomes equal to the ratio of the price for the Adam, for the Eve. And that's why if I mean for utility maximizing Adam के लिए ratio of apple fig के equal है and Eve का भी equal है, so this right hand side equal, so left hand side is also equal. And for perfect competitive economy में जो equilibrium case क्या होता है profit maximizing, that is the price becomes equal to marginal cost. If you remember that, price always becomes equal to marginal cost for profit maximizing in case of the perfect competitive market. If we just assume that this is a competitive market, and so we can say that for profit maximizing, price of apple should be equal to marginal cost of apple, and price of fig should be equal to the marginal cost of fig. So the ratio of the marginal cost of apple to fig becomes equal to the ratio of the price of apple to fig. So again we can say that since the ratio of the marginal cost of apple to fig is the marginal rate of transformation, so marginal rate of transformation equal to the price of apple to the price of fig. So now you can compare जो marginal rate of substitution of apple का एडम्स का जो है वो भी प्राइस के रेशियो है, इव का भी प्राइस के रेशियो के इक्वल है, marginal rate of transformation भी प्राइस के रेशियो के बराबर है. So marginal rate of substitution for Adams becomes equal to Eve becomes equal to marginal rate of transformation under competitive market. And this is the first theorem of welfare economics, first fundamental theorem of welfare economics, which says that if the market is competitive market, then it automatically gives us the efficient solution. Okay, so that is the efficient solution in the case consumers जो है पेट efficient condition पे है, क्योंकि MRS एडम MRS ईफ के बराबर है, और it also equals to the marginal rate of transformation, जो कि रेशियो है marginal cost for apple with marginal cost of fig. So that is the first fundamental theorem of the welfare economics, that competitive market automatically gives us the efficient solution. There is no need of intervention till now. Okay. So in the next class हम लोग जो है ये second fundamental theorem को देखेंगे. Okay. So that is the first fundamental theorem of the welfare economics. Okay, one thing you have to do before leaving the class, you have to write the roll number